Do you struggle with pulling up in your hip? Do you struggle with your pirouettes? Do you struggle with your balance? Listen, folks, we've all been there. And if you're currently experiencing that and you're not pulling up in your hip enough, these top 5 hip strengthening exercises for ballet dancers are just for you. Stay tuned. Hello guys and girls across the world. My name is Elisha Nelson. I'm a professional male ballet dancer.
Shut up, don't talk to me.
As you all know, right now, we're in quarantine. We're facing a world pandemic.
Coronavirus!
So what better time than to work on our strength and our technique? Today, I'm gonna bring you my top 5 hip strengthening exercises for ballet dancers. Guys, I'm a little bit sweaty right now, and that's because I just did a beginner ballet class. If you guys are beginners, and you're interested in taking a beginner ballet class online, check that out. There's a playlist, it'll be in the link below. Thanks for tuning in. Without further ado, here's my top 5 hip strengthening exercises for dancers. Guys, for all my hip strengthening tips, you're gonna wanna use a lighter TheraBand to start with, okay? And then once you progress and get stronger, you can move to a heavier one. So I have a red one here today. Normally I'd use a green, but I'm using the red to show you guys, okay? So my first tip, we're gonna take the TheraBand and we're gonna place it between our ankles, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go up to a wall and we're gonna put our arm against the wall so we have some stability at about a 90-degree angle. We're gonna really pull up in our standing hip and we're gonna move our leg outwards using and maintaining a beautiful parallel connection. And by using a lot of control on the way out and on the way in, we're gonna slowly strengthen that hip muscle. We're gonna do about 15 of those, and if you haven't done a lot of hip strengthening yet, you know it's gonna burn. While we're doing it, we just wanna make sure that we're very controlled. We don't wanna do erratic movements, right? We're making sure that we move smooth and with control so that we're really working all those muscle fibers slowly and methodically. Alright guys, that brings us to exercise number 2. This one is a no-brainer for ballet dancers and athletes alike, no matter what you do. It's called the clamshell. It's one of the most simple exercises, but it can be done improperly at times. So let's take a look at what we can do to fix our position and how to actually do it properly so that we get maximum results from our hip strengthening exercise. We're gonna lay on our side and preferably against a wall, okay? We want our spine and our heels to be in line with our knees slightly bent. From here, we'll take our tied TheraBand and we're gonna put it around our knees. From here, we simply open our knee and close, just like a clamshell. Open our knee and close. Open our knee and close. We'll do about 15 of these for each side, and I actually recommend for all these exercises you do 15 reps and 3 sets. By actually putting your back against the wall, it'll keep you from physically cheating by opening your hip too much. That way, the leg is rotating within the hip and you're not just moving your hip back. So leaning against the wall is actually a very good tip. Alright guys, so we're almost halfway through with these exercises, okay? So now's the perfect time to remind you, if you're loving this video and these exercises are helping you, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. It really helps me out and helps the videos get pushed to more people, okay? And please subscribe to my channel. I'm a male ballet dancer. I post all types of videos, not just tutorials like this one. I love doing choreography and creative projects and other silly kind of stuff here and there. So please subscribe. Without further ado, back to the hip exercises. Here's hip strengthening exercise for ballet dancers, number 3. Very similar to the clamshell that we just did, we're gonna do a reverse clamshell. As much as dancers, ballet dancers specifically, want to turn out, we need as much inward rotation to protect our hips, okay? That acts as a spring coil as you're landing, okay? The more protection you have there, there's more room to move when you land from jumps. And having more inward rotation will actually help your external rotation more. So let's take a look at the reverse clamshell. We're gonna take our tied TheraBand and we're gonna wrap it around our ankles. From there, keep our knees together and we're gonna push our foot upwards and away from the other foot. It might be a little funky at first, okay? Now, when you do this, guys, you want to make sure that you're not cheating and using your quad too much. You want the rotation to come completely from your hips. Guys, if you're finding that you're struggling with this and you're cheating by using your quad, what you can do is you can lie on your stomach and do this on your stomach so you do not cheat at all, and you'll be able to use one foot and one hip to stabilize the other one, actually resulting in a stabilization exercise as well as a strengthening exercise. Guys, another tip I almost forgot to mention for this exercise, you're gonna want a TheraBand that's actually tied a little bit smaller than the one that I was using in the last one, okay? Because that way you have more resistance from the get-go, because there's a bigger distance between where the strengthening actually happens and where your hip is stand still. Prevent from using your quad too much during these inward rotations, right, is by actually relaxing your foot. If you're winging your foot during the exercise, it tends to tend up your IT band or your quad. Exercise number 4. Okay, we just did our inward rotations on the floor with a TheraBand wrapped around our ankles. Now we're gonna do our inward rotations, but we're gonna do this with weight on top of our hips. Yes, you heard right. We're gonna do this standing and with our feet parallel, rotating each hip individually inwards. It's actually very important to give the hip the sensation of actually weight being bared on it, right? It makes sense because when we're dancing, we actually need to be standing. This one's easier done on perhaps with socks on a hardwood floor or with the fitness sliders that you may see everywhere, okay? Now check it out. A good tip for when doing this exercise is you actually want to keep your hips level and stable. You don't want to move your hips back and forth, okay? That being, when we're actually strengthening our muscles, we want to make sure it's not the body that's doing the work, but actually the leg doing the work within the hip so that the hip is actually being strengthened. As you might discover if you're a ballet dancer, you might have quite a small amount of inward rotation, okay? You might want to work on that. That brings me to hip strengthening exercise number 5 and our final exercise. Check it out. All right, guys, for my 5th and final hip strengthening exercise for ballet dancers, you might want to use something like a blanket or a pillow, or even for now what I'm using is my sweats because I had nothing else and I'm in the studio. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to stand on your knee, 2 legs, 90 degrees and 90 degrees. From here, pulling up on that standing hip, you're gonna lift your front foot up and just try to stabilize. Now, it may seem easy when you're watching it, but this one, for me at least, was actually...
My life's finally back together, so things are good. I'm in the right direction.
This is a stabilization exercise, and there's quite a bit of variance to it. For now, just try raising your foot up and sustaining it without actually shifting your weight back. Try it out. It's a little more difficult than it seems. Alright guys, thanks so much for tuning in. That concludes my top 5 hip strengthening exercises for dancers. If you found this helpful, leave a like, leave a comment below, subscribe to my channel. There's always more content coming. If you guys want more hip strengthening exercises like this or any other conditioning exercises for dancers in general or cross-training videos, let me know. These were just a few of the exercises I have incorporated into my routine. I have about 25 different exercises. I'd be willing to share them with all of you. Thank you so much for tuning into my video. This has been Elisha Nelson, and I'll see you in the next one.